Last time there was a problem because, yes, NEC and SEC decided on Olanya, Anita combination. But Rebecca, the Honorable Right Honorable Rebecca, and many others actually rebelled and went ahead, notwithstanding the NEC and the SEC. So there's nothing new. You have some sort of rebellion. As to whether they can perform as much as Rebecca Kadaga did in this parliament is another question. But also, to be honest, Oscar, many people who are coming, they don't see their chances as being speaker. One, they want their names to be there. And eventually on the table, it's okay. Bamwine don't mind. We can there are many things in the Father's Council we can do. Because it has happened. For example, you remember the Right Honorable Thomas Tayeba. At first, he wanted to be deputy speaker, but he was talked out and eventually became the chief whip.
Yeah.
And when circumstances allowed, he eventually became deputy speaker.
Thank you, Abdul.
So
Lydia?
People want to go on
So,
the table.
I have listened to what you told Katuntu to advise me.
I told Bamwine, not Katuntu.
Even Katuntu said he can have a say, and they have taken notes. But I want to say that I don't just want to be seen or heard. I want to be very firm that I'm expressing interest to be Speaker of the 12th Parliament, and I have what it takes. So make no doubt about that. I also want to give you correction so that you know, to both what Katuntu has said and Bamwini. We have internal elections in the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, and these names are brought in elections. There is a vote. I want to tell you that we had the 4 people who contested, who were delivered to the NRM Parliamentary Caucus in the last time to be voted. Robin Arakojo went for a vote. Honorable Among went for a vote, and Taiwa went for a vote. So it is not true that SEC is this dictatorial organ that dictates. And I really, because I've been a SEC member and also a worker, there are 2 different things. I served the SEC as a staff. As a staff for 12 years because we were backing SEC. Then as a SEC member for 10 years. Yes, SEC is a very powerful organ of the party. But let me say this, and I hope that the current SEC members can also come and back me up. You have too much power. You take strength for the party. But there is a window. You give members a breathe. It's also maybe a consoling agency. You go and express your interest. They cancel you. They give options. But SEC has never held the hammer to say you cannot be. We have decided that has never happened. And you don't. That's not even. If you are talking about presidents, then this will be the first president to look out to people. SEC listens to members. We do anything. Even for the speaker.
Edgar, we said she's closing it up.
Even for the speaker. Even for the speaker. The different. No, let me finish because I don't want you people to, if narratives, maybe for lack of information or you have your own agenda.
Did you see how I've kept him quiet?
Because I want people to know that SEC is the final organ of our party. It is actually very powerful, but the chair or the members have not given. They have not used that blocking power, that dictatorial power. It has never happened. If it happened, this is going to be now. Even for the last speakers that served the 2 terms, people that wanted to express interest did, and that conversation happened. But I mean, if you've been in privy to this, you can also defend on this. People, even Olanya came contesting all the time. But they would sit him down and say, these are the options. And then they would go to the caucus and explain the process, how it has happened. For Second and Kadaga, Second was never a member of SEC or caucus. He would be there. And then the president would come and say, currently we have Second. He was a member of the CA. He's a senior citizen. He saw us through the referendum in 2005. We give him another. Second has never. Second has never been a member of SEC or even in the parliamentary caucus. But he took, but then there was that process to explain to convince and to grow consensus. So I don't want anybody to leave here, including Katuntu.
Thank you.
To say, there's this sick, dictatorial, two people will come. There was a vote. There has been a vote. People like Nwagawa, Sechikubo, there are so many members of the NRM caucus. They have been consistently expressing interest. They don't win, but they are given an opportunity. And it is an insult, an indictment for anybody to think that when you stand out, despite intimidation, which even I see here on Nugang, that we have no chance. Who told you?
So thank you, Lydia.
Allow us to express our interest. It is our right.
I want you to feel that
they're out to come. They're out to come. It's not my business. My business it is to present my interests, and that we shall. And let me finish, Oscar. Let me finish. That we had precedents which have since the last election been broken. We are starting afresh because the precedents were trampled upon. And we are beginning afresh. Beginning afresh.
Lydia, this topic we are beginning,
and I want to request people to respect the rules of electing a speaker.
Edgar, you refuse Pan-Africanism and so on.
Yes.
There's a war going on this very minute. Are you aware?
Yeah, Iran and and exactly. I wanted to say something about that.
Now that's the topic on the table. Let
me just say something quickly.
No.
The elephant in the room used to rely on the Israeli lobby. Now that Israel is overstretched, their lobby is meh, as the Benjamin said.
There's a war going on this very minute. It has started.
Israel.
Were you expecting that?
Yes.
Why did you expect it? Because they've been negotiating.
Particularly Trump. Trump is paternalistic. The negotiation can only end in his favor. If it doesn't, you prepare for war. He's paternalistic. There's no choice about it. Yeah. So it's not surprising.
His campaign was that make America great again, no wars and anything.
And you see, that's a mistake people in this region made. They thought Trump was non-interventionist. And that's why you saw those quick advances to Bukavu and Uvira. A terrible miscalculation that these people made.
Okay. Abdul Katuntu, did you expect this war? Did you expect us to get to this stage?
You see, with the sort of deployment that had been made, and any such deployment is so costly, I don't think there is any reason why the United States would deploy massively with a huge bill and doesn't take action. Secondly, Trump is having a little bit of pressures at home. There is nothing new he can provide to the American people. So you need to cause another debate. And that's what the American presidents have been doing. Yeah. So now it shifts from his domestic policy now to having been the guy who sorted out Iran, which many presidents didn't do and so on. So and it's such a president who can take any decision because it's about him. He's trying to say, okay, I now have 3 years. I think it's remaining 2.5, not even 3 now. What is it that I can do and make history as the first or the only American president? Yes. It's just to...
Well, he's saying Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, and then he says, you people, you are going to have a new government.
Many American presidents have been engaging Iran. You remember there was an accord between Barack Obama and Iran, and with the atomic energy in Austria, Vienna Agreement, to have Iran's nuclear program monitored. And it looks like it was, even the European Union was happy with it. Then he changed it. So to me, President Trump is making his own history.
Okay.
And there is no use going to
Mr. Intelligence
without doing that.
Mr. Intelligence, Fred Bamwine. Is this what you expected?
But you see,
already you are not happy with America intervening in Congo, but now America is intervening in Iran.
In international relations, states have no permanent friends. They have permanent interests. So what you're seeing, this posture of America It's nothing. It's not even political. It is purely economic and hegemony.
Well, where is the economics in? Katuntu says it's politics more than economics.
You bring Iran to its knees. There's something called Mr. Oil. There's something somebody called the leader of that, because Iraq no more, Syria no more, Yemen no more. Now you cannot allow another group to emerge. So put them to their knees. America needs all these resources, not for today, for years to come. That's why the other day when they picked the Venezuelan president, the issue was tanks of oil going. They have told you the killing of these people in the Congo. So it is resources, American resources, for years to come. So America is saying, where are resources? We need them. So I don't want anybody to challenge me. So anybody coming up to challenge America must be put down. That's why I was saying, Mr. Edgar, you are making a very big mistake. In an effort when we are trying to say maybe Africa can be one country through regional blocks, then we can also pose a question.
With Pan-Africanism.
Then you say, they should be crushed. So to me, as far as I'm concerned, the war in Iraq, because if that big democracy, as they claim, how could you allow the mayhem that has been taking place in Gaza? And is it a deaf ear or a deaf eye? And the world is going on normally. They say you are not democratic and you are sponsoring these massacres. So as far as I'm concerned, this is about strategic resources, about strategic hegemony.
Thank you.
To make sure that no
Benjamin
power can emerge in its
Was
time.
America energized by the kidnap of Venezuelan president?
Well, I think they have a relationship. And I want to agree with Honorable Katuntu that especially after the deployment of its prized military hardware, the Abraham Lincoln warship, the Gerald Ford warship, I don't think they were doing this in vain. It was predictable that there was escalation of military tensions with Iran. I also want to state that I don't think this is strictly about Iran, but about the world order. And if you look at the matrix, you will not discount the involvement of China and the movement towards there has been a deliberate campaign movement towards the multipolar world, and which would in a way undermine the hegemonic power of the US. And I think Trump's strategic direction has been, because the previous administrations largely were relying on NATO to hide behind NATO and do a number of things. But I think under Trump, he's doing most of the things singularly, as the US projecting the might.
Even like NATO.
Yes, the might and the power of the US. And if you look at the Venezuelan situation, there's also an element of oil, there's an element of China. If you look at when he assumed office this term, I think the most singular enemy of America in his definition is China. And he started by moving with tariffs. And I think maybe that did not deliver the results he wanted. And now he has engaged another gear of making sure that America maintains its global influence and power.
Joseph? Joseph?
Just 1 second. You see, let us look at the timing. Iran has been very close to Moscow.
Yes. As
it is now, Moscow is engaged in a war with Ukraine. So America thinks this is the time, because Russia now, there's nothing it can do about this. Because if Russia didn't have the the war with Iran, with Ukraine now. By now it would be talking tough. We can't allow this and so on. But now
they are busy. They're even recruiting from Uganda and Kenya.
Everywhere, including
Joseph, your comment. Hold on. I'm going to get Lydia and Edgar about.
No, it's really a sad day for this country. It's a sad day for this continent, and really a sad day for the world. For me, yesterday I was in court, and apparently I bumped on a group of young students. Apparently, some university students have been hoarded in jail over the last several months, and it's not hitting the headlines. And Fred, you should be ashamed about this. That the university students are being, as a regime, we need to be building, we need to be educating, we need to be building, and we need to be equipping a country and a continent. Whatever is happening is basically an indictment on your regime. You guys came in and sided with Americans and everyone else, and created a situation in which these guys go to
their political prisoners as well. And then you have a pardon.
Indeed. This continent should be consolidating itself, and that's why I was very critical about the question of what's happening in Congo. But it's not an easy swipe to Edgar. You guys were the official up dogs in 30, 40 years ago. Today you're just uncomfortable because you're not off the table. But whatever's happening going forward, it's been talked about as a resource thing. America is doing these things unilaterally, and the world is getting towards much more unsafe space. And I don't see young Africans and African leaders, other than people who are transactions, getting involved in it.
And then Lydia will speak last.
In 1989, the fall of the collapse, the imminent collapse of the communist bloc, Soviet Union, the fall of the Berlin Wall, Francis Fukuyama penned an essay which was developed into a book, The End of History. He defined history as linear, evolutionary, and predicted that the fall of communism was going to what is the word? The corollary was development, linear corollary was development of radical Islam. And therefore, the next clash was going to be the Western civilization and radical Islam. Given that background, yes. Given that background, listen to me, Bwana RDC. Now, the likes of Trump see themselves as custodians, as the czars of and spokespersons of the so-called civilized Western civilization. So what we are having is very predictable. And I see, you saw what he did in Nigeria with Boko Haram. I see him going also in Cape Delgado in Mozambique, because he's trigger happy. He has the drones, he has the ships. You saw the attack on Venezuela, 150 aircrafts. I mean, that's where the world is going. So this war is not surprising at all.
Thank you,
Israeli.
Lydia, speaking last on anything you'd like to speak about.
The world order is changing very fast, and if people or leaders of the world do not see this, they will always maybe end up making mistakes and living by shock or handling what we would call post-mortems. The African Union, Africa, has been struggling to be on the table as permanent members of the UN Security Council. Edgar have been following this, the world order, but they cannot make it. It has, you see, even that alone, it's a big issue just to be permanent members, and yet the bulk.
You have betrayed us.
And yet the bulk of the conflict that gives the mandate or life to the UN Security Council is in Africa. So things are happening. We can come here and debate, but it is very, very difficult. We are like in a small bottle. You know the story of being in a small bottle and you're all fighting each other when the one who has put you in the big bottle, the small bottle, is just watching on. That's what is happening to the world order.
So thank you. It's a good time to say thank you to the listeners of the Capital Gang. Joseph wanted to add in.
Just that this is really a time for students and young people in this continent to mobilize and organize. And it's really sad that in Uganda, university students can't even hang around their squares to express sentiment. It's that weakness in their countries and as a continent and in this country that the Americans are now unilaterally going out. When America attacked Libya, I was a deputy head of student campaigns and against America in the streets of Kampala. Today, we are not about 1986. Yes, and when they did the Angolan thing, we need to mobilize and organize and say no to these guys and push back.
But Joseph has a point. You cannot fold your hands and say, now that America... I think...
The point, Oscar, is that
most all of us who have
microphones,
we must continue encouraging
civic engagement locally and expect the students
who can
to have civic engagement internationally when they cannot engage internally. Today at Makerere University,
so why do you have
if the students organize and
but you have a microphone now.
They are disqualified.
What's your view? You have a microphone now.
So thank you, listeners of the Capital Gang. Continue following us on our social media platforms.